Do you want yourself in the middle of it, don't you?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Okay. So I've come to the stone circle at the Castle Mound, Aberystwyth, to read out a statement that I made 10 years ago at Stonehenge, and it's about reclaiming the airwaves. The land may be divided up and fenced off and sold off, but nobody owns the air above us or the airwaves. And this was about reformation of the broadcasting industry, especially the BBC, the most powerful industry in the world, most powerful broadcaster in the world. So I'm going to read this statement again. It takes about 12 minutes. It's a bit long and waffly, but I shall begin. It's called BBC Stonehenge Revolution. The BBCA, Bardic broadcasting community of Albion, quietly reappeared on Midsummer's Day in the turnaround year 2010 as about 20,000 people gathered to witness the sunrise at Stonehenge, the legendary focal point of communication between two worlds, ancient and modern. An exponential revolution in public service broadcasting began to gather pace as the transformation from passive acceptance of news, education and entertainment to active public participation very quickly changed the face of mass media communication and just about everything else. Since the very earliest days of recorded UK history, speaking truth was prized as an essential quality for the enlightened Druid sages who freely walked these lands, taught in many universities, counselled kings, dispensed the law and organised public gatherings where bards would compete to tell stories in poetry and song of great events and heroes past and present and astonishing times to come. The Bardic broadcasting community of Albion, the original BBCA, achieved what might seem like an impossible level of continuity from thousands of years past right up to the present day by constructing a communications network of megalithic landscape temples marking pre-existing energy centres arrayed in natural geometric patterns within a universal spiritual heritage as old as mankind, transmitted by word of mouth from wise master to student until the effects of time caused a need for the written word, not where civilization began, but where it began to rapidly decline as we gradually started to lose our capacity to remember. But time runs in cycles, not in lines, and our venerated forebears, great experts in astronomy, could read the future in the stars and knew that there would come a time when long-lost ancient memories stirred and inspired souls would join together and swim upstream against the downward flow to remind us all of connections that could no longer be denied. What possible link could there be between the megaliths of Stonehenge and the 21st century BBC at the cutting edge of communications technology? I'll just show you the picture there. BBC Brock House, just now annexed into Broadcasting House, West 1, stands precisely at the centre of two concentric circles, 16.2 and 20.625 miles wide respectively, within an ancient power structure exactly 1,080 times the size of the two concentric circles that form Stonehenge, reflecting not only Earth and Moon proportions, but also identical dimensions to the biblically prophesied New Jerusalem, City of Revelation. The correspondences do not end with just one number, 1080, which happens to be the radius of the Moon in miles. When doubled to the diameter, 2160, also happens to be the length of time one zodiac sign accompanies the sunrise, multiplying by 12 to the great year of 12,920 years, the completion of whose cycle coincides with the end of the Mayan calendar at 11:11 AM on the winter solstice morning of December 21st, 2012, in the year of the London Olympics. And just a footnote here, we're just approaching It's late October now, we're just approaching 11/11, 9 years later on, and that is a very significant day.
It's gone off.
Sorry?
It's gone off.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it's come back on again now. What's that about? It did that a minute ago as well.
I don't know.
Oh.
Okay, no worries. The 30-pointed pattern of 5 hexagrams and 6 pentagrams connecting churches, holy wells, sacred stones, hills and mounds in staggeringly perfect star formations all across Greater London, reflecting something infinitely greater than what mere human surveying could possibly achieve, is also found at Stonehenge, where 30 sarsen stones originally formed the outer circle. The case for nature's underlying geometric patterns indicating places of great power is made definitively in C.E. Street's London City of Revelation, a timely rediscovery of the capital's breathtakingly significant role in re-establishing ancient truths so long deliberately obscured by mundane worldly institutions of church, state, education and broadcasting media, pressured by unelected money men to promote one very myopic and microscopic picture of reality, human origins and history, why we're here and what life's really all about. We are our ancestors reborn, a fact that's even biblically confirmed, which is why we know the truth when we hear it, describing mankind's original spiritually centered culture, so vastly superior in every way to Western civilization, that once we make the obvious comparisons, we can see the way ahead to break free from a destructive system of ecological hooliganism and financial enslavement that reduces us to mere consumers in an economy that in reality benefits no one, least of all the greedy who ultimately succeed only in burdening themselves with enormous karmic calamity. BBCA, the modern-day Bardic broadcasting community of Albion, is on the rise, a peaceful movement based on open and honest communication, reborn of necessity to counteract the lies peddled 24 hours a day through media broadcasting channels entirely owned and controlled by private business corporations who very clearly do not have the best of public interests at heart. Fortunately, the BBC is different. Publicly owned and sponsored to the tune of £3 billion per year by 20 million UK households, comprised of planet Earth's most privileged population who hold the key, some knowingly, some unwittingly, and many more catching on rapidly, to unlock 12 gates to the mother of all mysteries, who has descended very tangibly as the City of Revelation, like a bride adorned for her husband. Again, I'll just show you the little closing on that one. That's the sacred geometry of London. I'll just close in on that. It's very extraordinary, more of which later. A pristine state of civilization renewed, expressed in the universal languages of mathematics and geometry, writ large all across the UK landscape, at a time when the origins and existence of all such self-evident truths have been systematically denied, minimised, ridiculed and obscured. Now is the perfect time for broadcasting worldwide a message of universal peace, love and light, to reaffirm that there is no need whatsoever for human beings to fight, for ultimately only God exists, and whoever or whatever we may think we are fighting against is only ever God or God's female energy transformed. In 2010, the good people of the United Kingdom finally rose. There's a pun in there somewhere, Brian. The good people of the United Kingdom, in 2020, the good people of the United Kingdom finally rose, with Brian's help, to accept the full responsibility bestowed upon them by taking birth in the most blessed and privileged of countries upon God's green earth. Destiny had arranged that when time came for a change, a gentle revolution in perception, the nation whose language had become accepted as the international standard of communication would stop cowering at the cowardly feet of greedy, ruthless money men, stand together fearlessly and assert the true meaning of humanity by reclaiming the airwaves, to declare the 83-year-old BBC corporation motto, loud and bold across all lands. Nation shall speak peace unto nation. Apply true justice beyond bribery to the transparent criminal conspiracy called the international banking system, and re-establish true democracy based on perfect standards of civilization, not invented by but revealed to man, now widely available for the first time in every major language, in every country on the planet. Soon every switched on UK household recognised that a noble damsel in distress, Saraswati, the goddess of learning, also known as Sophia, Athena, our dear old Auntie Beeb, needed to be rescued from imprisonment in the ivory towers of publicly sponsored broadcasting, where she was caught up in the never-ending war between the forces of darkness and light. Destiny had intervened with perfect timing, organised by unseen higher forces to ensure that at the time when universal enlightenment was dawning planet-wide, 12 great doorways of opportunity fully opened to maximise the empowerment of individuals, communities and whole nations to rise together in a gentle process of reclaiming the airwaves in the name of truth, justice and freedom, to re-establish peace on earth. Just as the mighty Google acquired the revolutionary YouTube and started the electronic equivalent of a book-burning campaign, 3 million Google videos deleted on Royal Wedding Day, April 29th, 2011, archivists worldwide began to save and share like never before, to make absolutely sure that all the information gained in mankind's largest ever history, in mankind's largest ever library, was not only retained but distributed exponentially by email, DVD, letter, word of mouth and gatherings in local communities where all could meet, discuss and see for themselves precisely what had been omitted from textbook history and precisely why, in the light of unprecedented levels of both worldly and divine revelation. The Celtic blood in every UK resident and many billions more worldwide connects us very deeply with our mother culture and the old knowledge, now on the rise again, to counter all the lies again, as we meet with previously unknown brothers and sisters whose cultural roots stem from the one same tree that unites the entire human family as one. Celtic is an 18th century word invented to disguise the underlying truth of Vedic culture as the definitive source of all languages and civilizations, fully verifiable and traceable to millions of years back in time, within unerringly precise cosmological calendars telling us exactly what time of day it is. And now is the best time of all. Now is the time for all possessors of higher knowledge to make everything we have freely available to everyone who wants it. Education is not a purchasable commodity, but the inalienable right of every human being who wants to know where we come from, why we're here, what is the highest goal of life and how to achieve it. Or in other words, the essential subject matters of the Vedas, a vast library of living knowledge, now available in plain English with the enlightened commentaries of pure saints and being transmitted electronically in all directions to enable free access, fully relevant to every human need, available on DVD-ROM, and this was 10 years ago, complete with search engine to answer any questions on every known subject matter. Send your details to me and I'll post you a copy for free. That will be website references now. We'll know that Auntie Beeb, the BBC, has been freed when the public service broadcasting institution that we own sends cameras and microphones to living repositories of the old knowledge to facilitate live broadcasts of priceless Vedic wisdom spoken directly by fully self-realised saints, a timeless process of knowledge transmission so powerful that it bestows not only liberation from repeated birth and death, but also immortality and full knowledge of our eternal identities upon all who hear sincerely. This aspiring poet and visionary, blessed by the association of such saints over the last 2 decades, 3 decades now, sees all this happening within the next 2 years. Okay, it's taken 10. Let's fearlessly reclaim the airwaves, starting now. Thank you very much. And this is just a little footnote about the potential power of exponential broadcasting. If we speak to 12 people on Sunday and they speak to 12 people on Monday, by Saturday we could have reached 36 million people, and 2 days after that, if they all speak to 12 and it carries on, over 5 billion people, the whole world. This is why Jesus only needed 12 disciples. Exponential broadcasting. Thank you very much for listening, and Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I press the red button, do I?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well done, thank you for that one. Sometimes quite a marathon, but
I didn't press it yet, actually.
let's pan around.
Nice one.
Are you okay to be in it, or you can duck out of it if you want?
No, all right.
Oh, good. And thank you, my voluntary cameraman, Adi, today, for coming in just at the crucial moment.
Rastafari.
Nice one, mate. Yeah, it's a beautiful spot up here, and a very, very sacred site. And let me just demonstrate on my map exactly where we are. This is Chris Street's famous Original Earth Stars, the Visionary Landscape book. And let me just find okay, on this map I've added 2 extra lines here, so let me just trace. That goes from Dover through central London, through Ragged Stone Hill on the Malvern Hills, right through Clandrindod Wells, right up to Aberystwyth where I'm standing now. And the line actually continues across to Galway, and I'll show you the exact line because we're standing on it. That line continues right down there. Oh, there's someone else with a camera. Hare Krishna. And that goes, yeah, and these lines go right around the world. Well, the sun's just come out. How absolutely beautiful and perfect. And this Druid stone circle was constructed at the Welsh Eisteddfod 1915 by a local Druid group. So now I'm facing out towards Galway, turning around, and this line goes all the way back through Clandrindod Wells, the Malvern Hills, London and Dover, and undoubtedly on round the planet. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.